Hi, I'm John with Wiring Planner. I'm going to be demonstrating a new feature we'll be adding to Wiring Planner in an upcoming release. Should be available from version 1.1.5 and beyond. And that's the ability to generate wire lists. So I'm using our demo project that we ship with Wiring Planner. So you'll be able to duplicate this at home or do it on your own project. And I'm going to just start by generating the wire list. So up in Tools, show wireless right below show BOM, and just click that button and you get a wire list. Pretty easy. So what's in here? Let's go through each column, and then I'll show you some things inside the wire list, and then we'll go into the program so we can correlate some of those things. So every row, just a row number there, every row has a contact 1, contact 2. Those are the connections to the two ends of the wires. This is your harness right here. We've got a description. In my case, I put the wire specification. An endpoint. The endpoint is what these connectors would connect to. So if we look at contact 1, that's on J4602-P. That's a part number. That's a connector number I've designated. I've got one for the MFD, which is why it's the -M. I've correlated them with the actual device part number, the P4602 on a G3X. In this case, the PFD and the MFD. So your endpoint is your actual device and the associated connector. Not everything will have an endpoint. In the case of a splice, we're terminating at the splice, and then the wire will continue on with another wire coming out the other end of the splice. In this case, contact 2, and then there would be a ground splice 01:1, where a wire would come out to the other end of a connector. So you may or may not have an endpoint, and this is really part of your harness, but it just helps identifying some connectivity. And then we've got an ID. I name all my wires just to make life easier. Length, if you have one in there. Manufacturer, also if you populated that in your library. And in my case, I use Steinair for all of my wires. So in this case, this is a Steinair part number, and it's a 22 gauge black stranded Tevzel wire. So that's a single conductor. Obviously, the two things we would predominantly have here are single conductors and multi-conductor cables. In my case, I will show you a cable in my CAN bus, which is right here. And you'll see the way we identify that, even though you wouldn't name it, you would name your conductor. And then when the cable is designed in the library, it's got a white conductor and a white and blue conductor. And that's the way a cable is designated. So you can see they go together. They obviously will have the same part number because they're the same thing. And in this case, there's a splice associated with them. And that would be, you can see CAN 09 shield is connected to CAN 08 shield. And we'll talk a little bit about shields and back shells, which they're associated with. We do show the back shell connections on your connectors. And we also show terminations that are maybe a device that you're soldering to. So in this case, a ring, a barrel, and a tip on a headset adapter. Switches similar, and that really kind of covers all the information in the wireless. What's not in the wireless are logical connectors. When we get back into the program, I'll talk a little bit about logical connectors, shields, and some other tips and tricks. But this should be a fairly comprehensive. In my case, I've got 691 conductors. So some of these would be in a single cable, like I said. So it's a fairly big list, and probably error prone trying to do this just off a drawing. So I would recommend exporting this to Excel, where you have the capability of sorting multiple columns and get things organized just the way you like. There are also some RG400. In this case, I haven't really named these in a fantastic way, but I'll clean that up in the project and update this. But these would be some simple coax, so it's a little bit more straightforward into what you're going to be hooking up to. I think that covers everything in the wireless itself. You can, but just like the BOM, you can turn off the columns you're not interested in, and of course you can reorganize them. I generally tend to organize this so I kind of see an end-to-end connection all the way through. So that's the wireless itself, and you can export that to a CSV just like you do the BOM. and then open it in your spreadsheet of choice. Okay, so looking at the wiring diagram, the few things I want to highlight. The first is, I said there's a contact 1 and contact 2. Well, that's not obvious from this, and the way it works is whichever one you start routing is contact 1, and when you connect it, it's contact 2, but you're not going to be able to remember that. So when you highlight a wire completely, it will show the contacts. So this allows you to cross-reference your design with the wire list if you wanted to. So it'll show, it only does this when the wire is fully highlighted. So if I select this one, I've only got a segment selected. So if I hit tab, you can see I've got a 1 and a 2. So that's the way you can kind of tell that. Splices, let's talk a little bit about splices here. This is the original wiring planner way of doing splices, fairly standard, is just the dot. And the only downside to that is you can't explicitly specify which side of a butt splice a wire is coming out because there's only one connection here. So we've added a splice symbol, which allows you to have two terminals connected to it. And so this will show up in the wire list as the 1 and 2 of a splice. And this would be exactly how you would wire it in the aircraft, with 2 conductors coming into this end of the splice and 1 going out. Both ways are perfectly legal. There's nothing wrong with doing either one. I prefer the splice method just because I like to be explicit in the design, but if there's a way you're used to, it will work just fine. Little bit about some things I've done, a little bit of trickery, if you will. I've created some ground block symbols. So these would be used where you have those big fast-on 1/4-inch tabs with 48 connections to them. And it would be a little bit messy distributing those throughout the diagram. So what I've done is I've created a component that is just a ground block with a connector on it. That's for the BOM purposes. But in terms of the actual wiring, I actually have independent contacts that are hooked up here. And the way I've named them in terms of their ID is I have named them GB1:01. So they'll actually show up like a device : pin number. That's just a little trick to play with the program. It's not really required, but it is a way to kind of get your wireless to maybe look a little bit more consistent with distributing contacts on a connector. And the last thing I want to go over is shields and backshells. Now in Wiring Planner, we support one intrinsic backshell connector, and you could obviously independently connect all these shields, but it would get messy. So we daisy chain our shields. This won't be shown exactly the way you'd like if these are all independently connected to the backshell. So that's just something to keep in mind. I'm looking at a way to clean that up better to specify that this contact is actually the backshell. But that's about the only thing I think will be kind of off a little bit on in terms of your backshell. And then one last thing is logical cables and contacts. So these are conductors that aren't real part numbers. In this case, this is actually a ground block that's grounded to the aircraft by a screw, so there's no wire there. So I use a logical conductor there to show the connectivity to a ground. So these types of things and the logical ones that you access up here on the toolbar, those are not going to show up in the wire list, and that's intentional. So outside of that, I think that covers all the functionality we've added. I hope this really helps you with your upcoming projects. Have a good one.